Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kat, and if you're new here, welcome. There's my cat down there. Yes, she is noisy. So this one is Shock. I have two other black cats besides her, and they all three have completely different personalities. So I thought I'd start off this morning with a little bit of light cooking, and this is the AMSR segment of the video. So I hope you enjoy. Just kidding. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and get started right here, and notice that I have a rat tail comb, and all I'm doing is just kind of combing out the tangles in my hair. And I'm also giving myself a slight side part right there, just kind of angling it kind of diagonal from your eyebrow, just so you kind of have a part to one side. And then I have my rollers here. They're already warmed up and ready to go. And also, yes, clips, you're going to need those. I don't know what you set yours with. Some people set them with pins, but my hair is so long, it actually needs a clip to kind of hold it in place. So the very first roller I'm putting is right there on the part, and I have it pulled straight up above my head, so that way the roller sits right down on top of that part, or as close to it as possible. And I'm just taking all the rollers and I'm rolling them going the same direction down away from that part. And then I'm going to also do the other side in the same manner, and I'm going to roll them downward, but I'm going to take it from the part and go the opposite direction, just to kind of give my hair that Colette type of look, where she's got this almost, it's like a 1920s kind of hairstyle where it's got the finger waves kind of set in. But oh, one thing you'll notice is that I don't have a lot of makeup on right now, and yes, that is by design. I always like to set my hair in rollers before I finish up my makeup, just because you want the rollers set in for about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or so. That way your hair will have time to cool completely before you take them out, and it'll also give you time to do your makeup so you can multitask, kill two birds with one stone. Okay, I'm finishing up with the last roller, and as you can tell, the back is going to be a little messy, but I did roll everything up there, but I'm putting more emphasis in the front, and that is by design. One of the things about watching Dumbo that Tim Burton did is he set the stage around the 1920s. And so I have a lot of books that I love that are old, and this is one of them. This one was not actually written in the 1920s, but it kind of follows the health and procedures that Dr. Riley used, from using stuff that he got from a clairvoyant named Edgar Casey, who wasn't actually hugely famous at the time of the 1920s, but his stuff as far as health goes is still spot on even to this day. And I find this book, I always go back and reference it, is really a good read if you ever have the chance to pick this up. Okay, now we're just gonna go ahead and keep moving on here. I'll leave a link below in the description box just so you can find this book and pick it up for yourself. I will say I do go back and I do reference it a lot. There's a lot of things that are in there. It's full of knowledge. And as far as the first time I picked it up, I read the book cover to cover. It was a real fascinating read, and it was very practical. And if it's not practical and doable, believe me, I am the kind of person, I am not going to do it. So if it's out there, if it's just too much of one good thing and you have to live your life a certain way, I'm not touching it. It's just what it is. You just want something that's doable, simple, where you can move about your day and you can add it to your life. And that's what this book was actually all about. One of the things I wanted to kind of shine some light on about Edgar Cayce was that what was so kind of different about him is he wasn't one of these people that collected people's money and had a turban on his head or something where he looked like a traveling sideshow and there for himself. One thing that he was about was he was a Sunday school teacher. He was very much a Christian kind of person and a very almost like your grandfather kind of a vibe about him. And one of the things that he brought to light before it was ever even known back in those days was he was telling people whenever he would go into these trance-like states that in the future that most of all your ailments that people would find would be in the bloodstream. And this was before they had blood testing and that type of thing. And so he was way ahead of everybody else where nobody could really understand that, where all your ailments could be found in your blood. But somehow that came to him when he was in trance. He was kind of way ahead of his time as far as health and diagnosing things before people really understood, what modern science and technology has brought for us today. One of the things about Dr. Riley, who wrote the book in regards to Edgar Cayce, is that Dr. Riley, a lot of people didn't know, was Bob Hope's doctor. And this man would keep people alive into their 100s. So he took Edgar Cayce's treatments and he manipulated them. I wouldn't say manipulate. He actually transformed them into his own type of treatment to where he could understand the readings better, I think, than any other doctor could. And he used those and would transform them into something magical for people who were having a hard time. And he basically would take these treatments and he would use them on his clients and use them on himself even. And I don't know, he had the gift of longevity in people. So he was a good doctor, and not to mention the fact that he took a chance on using these Edgar Cayce treatments and it all seemed to really work out. So I really find it fascinating. When I read this book, I was like, they were both perfect strangers in the beginning to one another, and then it just kind of worked out. It's just amazing how when two things come together, yes, my pot to piss in, I know, I seem to love that pot for some unknown reason. It just worked out. It was just a very unique thing that happened, and it doesn't happen in life very often when you find two things that come together and it just forms into something just wonderful. Okay, I'll quit geeking out about this subject. I think you should really go check the book out. If not, just Google it. There's plenty of information on the internet. Well, as you can tell, I've got my bobby pins and I'm just collecting that hair that was on that shorter side where I parted it. And I'm just taking the hair and I'm just taking bobby pins and stacking them on top of one another just to kind of push all that hair. I want it really flat on that side where my ear is. So I'm just kind of smoothing it along with my comb. And then on the other side, I'm going to kind of tease it up just a little bit, just to give it some volume underneath, just a little bit of lift. And you can tell where all the curlers were stacked up on that side. That side's got a little more volume than the side with the shorter part. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking them and I'm kind of lifting it up. And I don't want it to look like a victory roll. What I want it to do is kind of cascade down on the side of my face like the Veronica Lake type of style. So I'm just collecting some pins and I'm just pinning it from the back so that way it will give it as much volume and lift, but I don't want to comb out the curls. I want to be very careful to just gently comb close to the scalp and not down towards the bottom, just so I can keep those curls intact. Okay, as I'm finishing up and I'm putting the last pins in place, I have this feather fascinator type of thing that I'm going to put here on the side of my hair. It's kind of like a 1920s, feather headband look that I'm trying to go for. I didn't have one with a headband actually attached to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this feather fascinator and I'm just going to pin it down on my head. And then I found a piece of string that I've collected over it's just ribbon that came off of something, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack that across the front of my forehead, because when you see Colette in Dumbo, you notice that she always has some kind of like, it's either a piece of jewelry or a necklace, it's got a very decorative look in the movie, and it's hers is obviously more decorative than mine, Hollywood. But I'm going to try to just mimic that look, being very minimalistic here with what I've got. And I'm just taking this ribbon and I'm just going to kind of tack it across. Okay, and about 600 bobby pins later, here we are, the finished product. Hopefully yours won't take as many pins as mine. Like I said, I didn't use a lot of product in my hair, so I have to kind of do it with some pins instead of a lot of sprays and mousses and goops and potions, that type of thing. Well, if you will now excuse me, I have an elephant that I must go and ride. One of the cool things at the same time that I was creating this is that the circus was in town. It was the Shriner Circus, and they had elephants. And they were saying that this is possibly the last year that they're going to have elephants. Just, son was absolutely just in awe with the elephants, and it really was a neat experience. Okay, yes, we have to have snacks. I don't know why, but anytime we have a movie night at my house, so we have popcorn and Reese's, and I don't know what your go-tos are. Oh, and it's also close to Fat Tuesday, so of course we have to have a king cake straight from New Orleans. So I don't know, go ahead and get your favorite snacks together, and we'll go ahead and we'll do this movie thing. Oh, one more thing I wanted to point out. Have y'all discovered this confectionery soap company? If you haven't, please go check them out online. And I'm not sponsored by anybody, as you know, but man, they have such great smelling candles. I do highly recommend. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this and it inspires you to create your own look or movie night. And if you'd like to see more, keep stopping by, and thank you so much. Bye!